A crunch Brexit row is set to explode in just hours, with Boris Johnson refusing to cave to EU fishing demands ahead of the bloc's deadline. The European Union gave the UK until December 10 to issue more fishing licences to French vessels. Emmanuel Macron's government has threatened to take retaliatory measures against Britain if more licences are not granted, accusing the government of failing to honour the terms of the EU trade deal. With just hours left to go until the European Commission's deadline, France said it was still waiting for Britain to approve nearly 100 licences for its fishermen. Mr. Macron's Maritime Minister Anna Ardern said she was fighting to ensure every licence was granted and would not let down France's fishing community. She told senators in the country's parliament, "Nobody should be left stranded on the dock." France has warned it is ready to cause chaos in the run-up to Christmas if more licenses are not granted, imposing extra customs checks on goods crossing the English Channel and banning some ships from ports. Europe Minister Clement Beaune said the measures would remain on the table if a deal is not reached, but that further European-wide sanctions could also be issued. He told French radio network RTÉ, "It's one of the possible options, but it's better, to be honest, to have European measures." All options are on the table, because it's better to have a dialogue. But, if it doesn't bear fruit, we can take European measures. Britain says it has issued licenses to 97% of all vessels that have applied for them and will continue to grant permission to those with the necessary paperwork. Under the terms of the post-Brexit trade agreement signed last December, fishing boats with historic access to Britain's waters must be given permits to allow them to continue to do so. They must prove they accessed the waters at least one day a year between 2013 and 2016. On Thursday, Downing Street refused to back down in the face of fresh French threats of EU-wide retaliation if more licenses were not granted. Number 10 said it did not recognize the deadline imposed by the European Commission and the EU cut-off point is not one we're working to. The Prime Minister's official spokesman said, "There's a technical process still ongoing based on evidence rather than set deadlines." "We've never set a deadline." "I recognize they themselves have set one, but it's not one we're working to." George Eustace spoke to Commissioner Sinkevicius last night about the progress on a range of licensing issues and they agreed to speak again later this week to take stock. All the talks on this issue have been constructive. Mr. Macron originally set a deadline of the middle of November for the UK to grant more licences to its fisheries. The French president was forced to back down from his ultimatum after Mr. Johnson refused to budge. The fishing dispute sits against a backdrop of tensions between Britain and France, recently inflamed by the deaths of 27 people attempting to cross the Channel in November.